So I'm Giuseppe. I'm part of the DevRel team at IoTeX. I'll be moderating this panel, and let's just go from Jesse all the way to Harry. Just introduce yourselves, and yeah.
I go first?
Yes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jessie, co-founder from CESS. CESS is decentralized data infrastructure. By utilizing the DePIN and the innovation technology and implementation, CESS built a decentralized storage system and a CDN network for future data for protect our data security, sovereignty, and user privacy. Thank you.
All right, Stefan, all yours.
Hi there, I'm Stefan. I head the business development side for NESA AI. NESA is a layer 1 supporting AI inference on-chain. We have over 3,300 models right now that we support on-chain. We're looking to obviously adopt new companies and any sort of integration opportunities for Web 2, Web 3 space. And I'm really looking forward to having a really fruitful conversation with you guys. And it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Giuseppe.
Yeah, thanks. Calanthea?
Hey everyone, my name is Calanthea. I'm co-founder of MASA, not to be confused with Beta. Funny enough, last panel, I was also speaking with someone from your team. So MASA and NESA were bound to be together. Anyways, my name's Calanthea, and at MASA, what we're trying to do is that we're trying to build a decentralized AI data network. We think data is one of the most challenging bottlenecks in AI development. And at MASA, we have built a decentralized network of over 50,000 workers who provide real-time, annotated, and pre-processed data to AI developers. I think our claim to fame was that in March, we debuted our token on CoinList Launchpad, and we sold out in 17 minutes, crashed the website many, many times.
Sweet, thank you. And I don't know if you guys caught the alpha, but Calanthea was just saying that MASA and NESA will eventually merge.
we should at this point, honestly.
You guys heard it here first.
Maybe we do a vote.
We removed that from the live stream.
And there's another MASSA out there, so not to be confused. We can all merge.
All right, Harry, all yours.
Thanks, Giuseppe.
Sure.
Harry Juhas, co-founder and CEO at 375 AI. 375 AI is a decentralized data intelligence network. We capture huge amounts of real-time, real-world information using advanced sensors that we deploy today across the United States, but soon to be other markets. We use that information to sell that data into businesses who put it into models or use it to improve their business performance. My background's been an entrepreneur my whole career. I sold a data business to Singtel here in Singapore. I've lived in Singapore for many, many years, so I am home, and it's nice to be back. And then I did a stint as CEO at Linksys, which I'm sure many of you have heard of, the Wi-Fi router company. And it was really there that I stumbled or discovered or happened to chance on what was then DY and is now DePIN. So I have a pole with every kind of DePIN thing you could possibly imagine in my garden doing things. And so very much an enthusiast of the whole space, and so much so that 2 years ago we launched 375 AI.
Sweet, and that's a good segue into basically what I really want to get out of this is this, right? So, we call the panel DePINizing AI, all right? So I think, it's pretty clear that we have, on one end, we have like the AI centralized giants, and on the other end, maybe there is more and more of a need for a decentralization on the storage, on the edge computing, privacy, private computing, etc. So I want to look into that. That's like the overall theme, and then you guys approach it from obviously your angle, right? But the first question that I want to tackle maybe for the audience, maybe for people that are not maybe expert, is like, why, right? Why, for example, Jesse, if we start with you, right? What's the need for the decentralized storage, for example, for AI, the decentralized data for AI, in your case, and what are you guys doing about that at CSS?
I think we are so lucky to live in this period of the time when all the technology was fast developing. And then we can see so many data was grow faster past a few years. But in the old system, and all the data belongs to the big giant companies, and none of us, even the individual person or the companies, enterprise, they cannot control their own data when you upload in the system. But when we facing the new challenge is when the cutting edge technology come with a lot of challenge about the data. How can you protect your data and your data sovereignty and your user privacy? We can see so many data leak, breaching, data stored from the hackers, and what we got is all the phone calls and the scam. So this is, as the data infrastructure says, we are building the decentralized data storage and CD network, completely change the infrastructure, which is different from the older system like Oracle, like AWS, like MongoDB. So we want to guarantee in the future who I want to share the data with, how much percentage I want to share with, if I can get paid if I share the data with, so what location I can store the data. These all the new challenges, it requires a blockchain-based infrastructure. So from past 5 years, CESS started 2019. From past 5 years, we're building the solid infrastructure for preparing the future internet, the data infrastructure. So that's what we're doing. So hope anybody care about your data security, data sovereignty, and privacy, please talk to us. We're happy to help you and help this industry. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. And yeah, they actually have a booth in the back, so feel free if you want to maybe keep the conversation with Jesse, find them at the booth. You closed with the perfect segue to go into Stefan about privacy, right? Yeah. And you guys are focusing on, like you were saying earlier, private AI inference. So obviously, why? And secondly, how does the DePIN, then we get into the whole conversation of, every blockchain is a DePIN, but let's not get into that. Let's talk about why the DePIN model and why the need for what you guys are doing right now.
Absolutely. So I think just to take a step back and think about, when you think about centralized players, obviously, what they're adding to the ecosystem is quite brilliant, but when you take a step back and you actually think about the backside of things, what's going on with your inference requests, and what kind of data do they have access to in regards to where that information is actually going? That is actually an innate problem, right? Especially when you think about businesses that have highly sensitive data, right? So if we're thinking about companies in financial services and healthcare, their data is the most sensitive out there, really. So when it comes to the need for AI, which is clearly where the space of this world is heading towards, more AI, businesses are going to need AI, and healthcare and financial services companies can't use ChatGPT because it's not fully private, that's a huge problem. I think that's one of the reasons why hello? All right. I think that's one of the reasons why decentralized players have come into play a little bit more, DePINs. So, talking a little bit more about NESA and kind of what we offer from our side. So NESA is the first end-to-end, fully 100% private AI inference platform on layer 1. And what we kind of offer is basically a hub for companies such as financial services companies and healthcare companies that they know that their client data, if you're a finance company, obviously you have transaction history, you have credit reports, and obviously client records, and these are very sensitive amounts of data. But if you want to use AI, you can actually feel that comfort, that peace of mind that if you're using NESA, because you're on the decentralized platform, you're able to access the best versions, the best models, known in the world currently, best large language models and vision models, and know that there is that peace of mind that there is that level of 100% privacy. And the same goes for healthcare, right? You have obviously client records, and you have diagnoses, and you have all these kinds of information purposes. But that's where the need, I think, is met, and I think that's where our trajectory is kind of heading towards.
Sweet. And to just go to the counterpart to NESA, how, for example, do you guys apply the DePIN model to MASA, and how is that relevant? And I'm trying to figure out, also for our audience, right? It's not just a matter of a choice. Oh, I can choose this or I can choose, DePIN model for AI, but actually, what benefit do I get out of it? Why, if we, maybe that's kind of like our argument, like, is that the future? Is that what we're heading? Like, is that a need, or is just something cool that we want to do, I want to make that distinction.
Why? Because we're cheaper, way cheaper compared to our centralized counterpart, and it is happening now instead of in 1 year, 5 year, 10 years. Developers in AI choose MASA to access social data such as Twitter, Discord, Telegram, web data because we're way cheaper. I'll give you a real example of what happened last week. So I was in Seoul for KBW, and we co-hosted a hackathon with Near Foundation. And then during the hackathon, there's a team who was trying to build an AI agent, and they needed to access Twitter data. And they needed to access around 1 million tweets from Twitter. So they went to Twitter Developer API, and they were charged $5,000 for that 1 million tweet on a monthly basis, which is crazy for smaller teams who are trying to build AI applications and AI agents nowadays. With MASA, the alternative that we offer is that we have gathered a decentralized network of around 50,000 workers. When a developer makes a request, let's say, let me pull the most recent 100 tweets from Sen Altman's Twitter, it gets assigned to a subgroup of around 20 to 30 node workers in real time. And in milliseconds, they return the results to validators first to verify and directly back to developers. Everything happened in milliseconds. And you know what? It is completely free right now. So on one hand, you have paying $5,000 to access 1 million tweets at KBW last week. And on the other hand, you had real-time, permissionless access to data completely for free. That's the reason why we need to exist, because we're a way better solution compared to our centralized counterpart.
Yeah, I totally agree that the DePIN model is not just out of coolness. I think it's out of scaling, and once you lower the barrier, lower the cost, and then, scaling starts happening. Yeah, Harry, I want to hear your thoughts about this. Given your premise, I've been in the DePIN for a while, and all you've worked with, and let's fit, 375 AI into this.
Sure. So I guess one of the ways that we look at the landscape is that with all this storage, with all this compute, whether it's centralized or decentralized, and of course, in a decentralized model, like you say, it can be 10 times cheaper or even more. We consider that, if the analogy is the chefs need the ingredients. The ingredients is the data. There's lots and lots of digital data, tweets and so on and so forth. But there's a huge lack of real world data. So what's actually happening in the street outside. And that's really the gap that 375 AI fill, which is providing a privacy-first access to huge amounts of data about what's happening in the real world in real time, but also storing that in perpetuity, so then businesses can understand patterns over very, very long periods of time. So a use case, for example, could be transport and logistics, where a competitor to FedEx, UPS, might want to understand how many trucks are going, which routes are they taking, so on and so forth. That could give them an edge. Or it could be for high-frequency traders that are looking for different inference data to see if Amazon's results are going to be better or worse than they thought, based on the number of trucks that happen to be on the roads 1 month versus the next. So our focus is on multimodal data collection. We do that using edge compute. So the devices that we've deployed are very advanced. They cost us $20,000+ just in components to build, because at every single location there is NVIDIA GPU actually processing all that information, which means we can strip out any privacy uncompliant data right at the edge. And then that information is turned effectively into metadata to then be the food for the chefs to work with and create beautiful meals.
Yeah, awesome. I love the restaurant analogy. I always use it for everything. So great. And
gets us too hungry though.
One more time?
Gets us too hungry though.
Yeah.
You just ate.
Yeah, guys, please feel free. What I wanted to say, yeah, I think what you're saying makes me think about something really important, and we talk about it a lot, and also in regards to like what IoTeX is doing in the space. I feel providing, for example, in our case, like an infrastructure that in itself basically allows for verifiability, for all this data, which then has a ton of value, becomes obviously paramount. And you guys, I'm glad to have you all because you approach it in all different ways. So I want to wrap it up with one more round, but this time around, I would like maybe, let's inspire the audience, right? So what's next in regards to your own projects, but how do you see sort of like the whole space like moving forward? So yeah, I guess Jesse, that's
You mean
yours.
in the future?
Yeah, like based on
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
CESS maybe for the next like mid to long term, and where do you see the space going?
I think this is, for me, is I joined this blockchain industry since 2014, so that's a long time ago. So by that time, we even dare not to tell people I purchased the Bitcoin, I what kind of crypto I looking for. So it's really like it's very shadowed, to you talking about this industry. But now you can talking about this DePIN and all the Bitcoin publicly, and even you discuss the solution for the government. Last month I was in UAE, and we seeking the solution for the next generation internet with the UAE government, and they are willing to help us to build the network in the Africa, in the Middle East. And the next month we are invited to Washington DC Capitol Hill to discuss with DePIN building the future internet infrastructure with DePIN. So I think this is, for me, is like wow, it's me. Only 10 years ago I was like cannot tell anybody, even my mom and my dad. Now I'm go to the Capitol Hill to discuss with the senators, in USA. So it was like, for me, I'm shocked by myself. And for me, it's like we are talking about AI. So how can our project can build the data infrastructure to help the AI companies to talk to each other? How can they share their the training models without exposing the raw data? So this is very important for the future to get the better result of the training model to provide the service to our healthcare or our humanity. I think there are so many industries and the fields need DePIN and the AI to working together. That's where provide a solid functionality about the decentralized storage and CDN network. Thank you.
Sweet, thank you, Jesse.
I do think that we are heading into a space where AI is just going to become way more prevalent in a business's model. Obviously, we are part of the Web3 space, so we're a little bit more versed on our side. But I think, honestly, heading into the future, I think Web 2 is going to be the focus. And obviously, adopting Web 2 onto our side of things, from the DePIN side of things, that is going to be a huge, huge change in the world and in how it's going to look for how they're utilizing the AI and where it's coming from and if it's private. So I think that is a huge aspect of a company like Coca-Cola or American Airlines. If they're using AI for a lot of their client data or to just do research, that's going to be obviously huge. And then obviously what you said earlier about,
it's totally happening. Your guys are totally merging.
Yeah. the costs.
You look at each other for answers. It's like it's there.
We do piggyback a bit, yeah. But from a cost perspective, it's just a no-brainer. At the end of the day, these companies, they're looking for the bottom line and to be the most effective there. So that's, I think, where it's heading. And in regards to some of the, I wanted to talk really quickly about some of the risks that are associated with privacy. So one of the things that NESA is obviously very acutely aware of is that privacy is not a static issue. It's something that is consistently changing. So we are staying on top of our innovation in regards to fully FHE. Yeah. Homomorphic encryption, exactly. We understand that it's very, intensive right now in regards to its compute, and it's very difficult to kind of scale because of its resource intensiveness. But in the future, I feel like that's something that will be incredible in unlocking for AI. And so that's something that NESA is very keen on staying on top of, and we're actually building something out as well. So.
Sweet, thank you. Yeah, Calentia.
Looking to the crystal ball here, I'm sure many of you are investors in this room, whether institutional or retail investors, passionate about this crypto space. So I want to offer a framework for all of us perhaps to consider for the future of decentralized AI. So I am, and my co-founder is of the opinion that decentralized AI is a third super narratives in crypto. First, we saw Bitcoin, which is replacing gold as digital gold. Then we see Ethereum, which is trying to program money, which gave birth to a lot of decentralized applications. Now, decentralized AI is the next big super narrative. It is not going to be a single cycle phenomenon. Instead, it is going to last multiple cycles and have a group of projects, all of us included, sitting on this stage, underpinning the infrastructure and the applications, building the future of decentralized AI. Why is that? It's because we are no longer in the echo chamber of trying to do a specific sector or specific type of application. We're transforming the future of AI, both in Web 2 and in Web 3. And to your point about the future of Web 3 AI is Web 2, I agree with that as well, because we need to break through our small community of Web 3 projects and offering our solution as a tangible solution to many, many, many of the Web 2 AI developers out there. So remember, one thing to take away, decentralized AI is a third super narrative, and we're here to build in the next few cycles.
Wow, I wish I had said that, but I'm glad you did. But jokes aside, I do believe that eventually all these things merge together. You know, I mean, I think in the DePIN sector is the same. You know, like once you decentralize finance, the next thing to decentralize is physical infrastructure, and it all just makes it more scalable and like, you know, a worldwide reach, and that happens to then inform the whole AI sector. So.
It's not if, it's just when. And I think a lot of the Web 2 companies are starting to realize that. They're more traditionalistic. So it's up to us to make sure that we're going to be the future, the face of AI as we move into those next phases, as she alluded to.
Sweet. And Harry, I think you got the closer now.
So, I mean, obviously everyone in this room doesn't need to be sold on DePIN, but I think it's worth remembering, because we are so kind of ingrained in it every single day, it's hard, it was easy to forget that we really are just at the tip of the iceberg. And if, you know, again, using an analogy, it's taken 50 years for AT&T to build a nationwide infrastructure network to support cellular, voice, etc. You know, there's projects like XNet and Helium that could do it in 10 times less time, and the capital intensity is so much different because it's spread amongst so many more parties with reward mechanics. So that's really the beauty of it, and I think it's just important to remember that we're just right at the beginning. And to your point about the bridge between Web 2 and Web 3, I mean, in a few years there won't be such a thing. You know, all of our customers are Web 2 customers. We're using Web 3 stuff because it makes sense to, and we're incentivizing using Web 3 mechanics. But you know, FedEx and these types of businesses are going to be using it whether inadvertently or not, and you know, this really just is the beginning, and the people in this room are the pioneers of this space, but this room is going to grow.
Yeah.
When family members ask you, like, where do you work, in which industry, do you say crypto, do you say AI? And the future is AI, because crypto is just part of the technology powering the future of AI.
Yeah, completely agree. Guys, I'm very comfortable. I would stay here and talk to you for a while, but yeah, let's give space maybe to the next panel. I want to thank you for your insights. And yeah, if anybody's interested to talk to these folks, I'm sure you guys be around for a while, and see you later. Thank you.
Cheers to Giuseppe.
Thank you, Giuseppe. Appreciate it.